Hello and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm Gail Thompson and I'm so glad that you would spend a few minutes of your day with me. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that what you do is a gift. You send a card that is using your thought, your time, and often a lot of expense. And I just want you to know that people really appreciate it. And I know I appreciate it because it's a special gift just from you. I wanted to share a quote that I keep in my planner that says, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away," by Pablo Picasso. Even though it's just now Halloween, the time between now and Christmas seems to fly, so it's time to get started on our cards. I just got this new die set from Simon Says Stamp, Wiseman Still Seeking. It's a nice big die cut, so I thought for some reason it was all attached, but I find out later it's not. And here's the Holy Star. It's the other die that I'm going to be using. I'm not going to be doing any stamping today, but just die cuts. And in case you would like to know how to get them apart, I just usually use the snips. Bending them doesn't work, especially if it's long like that. And I make sure I trim off all those little shards because they can poke you and they hurt. And those little shards get everywhere. So it's really best to do it over a magnetic bowl. But yeah, just be real careful. Those, if they go off on the floor and get in the carpet, they hurt. And here's my handy dandy old big kick with my fancy sparkly new cutting pads. It's good to use new cutting pads when you're doing foil, especially because if there's something stuck on the plate, a lot of times it'll transfer over onto the foil. And as you can see, I'm placing my dies like this is real gold. I don't know why I hoard paper like this because it's paper. But anyway, so I'm getting out my micro pour tape and took a little bit of the sticky off of it, and we're just going to run it through. Lots of companies have this foil paper, and I will have all the supplies listed below and at my blog in case you're interested. Isn't that a gorgeous Holy Star? It just looks like jewelry. So now we're going to pop out the words. And you want, with the way I'm going to do this card, you want to keep every little thing, the tittles, the little dots above the eye, those find a way of getting lost. Now there's my tool-in-one, and then I figured out with the foil, you probably ought to push it from the back because it'll probably make a mark. Everything seems to make a mark on foil paper. Now you're going to see me use two different backgrounds, but this is the main background, the one I wound up with. This is using watercolor and the saran wrap. I keep a bunch of backgrounds just sitting around for when I want to make a card quickly. Some days you just don't feel like stamping, you just feel like making backgrounds. Other days you feel like you or you have to make a card. So that's what all that is over on the right. So now I placed it, and we're going to make a die cut of this as well. And you have to keep all of these pieces too. So even the little teeny tiny things that go in the middle of the E, and it's really hard to keep it all together. And I really did not do a good job of that on this card. And this is watercolor paper, Tim Holtz's watercolor paper. And I wasn't really thinking of that when I did it either. So it wasn't the easiest to poke out. I did get my quick stick and kind of got working on it. And I had to really keep a hold of those tittles and the inside spots. But here we go. I've got it all cleaned up. Now I'm going to put some double-sided tape. Those sheets are fabulous. I can't think of the name of them right off the bat, but I'll put them on the bottom of the screen here. And so I just cut out a piece that fits the back of the paper. And then I'm going to try to clean up my mess, but you don't really need to see all of that. So you only want to take the top part of the sticky off. You don't want to do the whole thing at once, because if you stick it down wrong, you're stuck. So I always lay the top part down, and then when I have that part positioned, see, then I just pull off the rest of the backing paper. Oh, the paper's called Stick It. Oh, I can't believe it. Couldn't think of that. And then I did get a new bone folder there. And those Teflon bone folders are really nice. So now I'm inlaying the gold. And you do want to be careful with the gold, because everything seems to mark it up. But it looks just gorgeous on this. This background just kind of looked like a night sky to me. So I was really lucky I found it. Now I'm just going to get it all stuck with the adhesive. Now the Stick It is nice if you have to reposition it and you haven't pushed really, really hard on it. It gives you a little wiggle room. Some don't, so I really especially love Stick It for this. So now I'm just sort of puzzle piecing it in, and I have to put all the blue pieces that happen to match the blue back end, so that hem there, I have to find the big hunk for that. And then that wasn't hard, because it was kind of a unique little piece, but the other ones all kind of looked alike. I have to tell on myself, I lost a tittle. And of course, the mature thing to do would be just make another, because it's only paper. But do I? No. I'm crawling on the floor and looking all over the table. But I did finally give in and make another tittle. You know, if I do a little die cut thing, a lot of times you'll outline it in black. Well, since this was blue, I thought I'd better do it in a blue with my Tombow marker. And that way it just looks more finished on the side. You don't see white, especially when it's going to be on top of the foil. So now I'm just positioning it on top of my foil, and I'm going to pull apart the adhesive. And just like before, I'm only going to put a little bit of it and position it first. And then when it's where I want it, I pull out the rest. Makes it very simple to get it lined up. And then for good measure, I always throw it back into the big kit and roll it to just make sure everything gets good and stuck. And this is another part where it's really important you have a new cutting pad, or just put a piece of copy paper over it to protect your gold. Now, I like to use the fine tip on my adhesives, and so I just change it by what you're seeing there. Just pull off the tip, add another. I pitched the bottle, and now I'm just going to glue down some mini stars by Pretty Pink Posh. I thought I'd be clever, just put some dots down, and I'm going to throw some, because these are really, really tiny. I thought, oh, I'll just dump them, and whatever sticks, you know, that I'll be ahead. Well, that didn't really work very well. I pretty much made a mess. And so I used my quick stick, and for the most part that worked until I kind of got adhesive. But these things are really tiny, but they're really pretty, and I thought it added a little more shimmer, a little more starriness to the card. Now I'm going to put something heavy on top of it, usually just an acrylic block, and let everything dry. Put a little weight on it, and here is the finished card. Look how shiny. I just think it looks beautiful. And it's not something you're probably going to want to mass produce, but it is a nice special card. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I hope you'll click like and subscribe if you haven't already. And get those Christmas cards started, because time flies. I will plan to be back pretty soon, and you guys have a great day. And here's some other videos that you might find helpful. Bye-bye.